Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Landlord Society podcast, where we talk about all things in the Australian property market.
Let's go.
I'm Charlie, you're here with HDK. Let's cover a few things, a few misconceptions, and what we expect for the property market moving forward through 2024 in Australia. So, what are some of the first things that come to your mind, Handel? What's the plan and how do you see things?
Yeah, right. Right now, the market is bad. It's crap.
The market's terrible. Yeah, but it's
terrible.
not about the market, right? It's about the deal that you find within the market.
Exactly right. The reason why I start off by saying the market is bad is because I want everybody to understand that no matter if the market is good or bad, it's always bad compared to the deals you cut. It's all about the deals.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And there's always a good deal within a good or bad market, right? So what are you and my thoughts for people and ourselves moving forward? So what would you describe to be a good deal in this current market?
Well, it's just a skill set and I guess the market insight to be able to buy something first and foremost under the market value, right? That's got to be the most important skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's three major things. There's if you can buy something at or below market value, which is a very, it's parroted a lot with people. If you can do that, you're off to a good start. If you know how to manufacture equity growth throughout that property,
Exactly.
and if you know how to make that thing cash flow.
Exactly.
Those are the three major things that I think you can nail them. You can nail them in a good, bad, or otherwise market.
Absolutely. Because if you are beating the market with that, then you're actually going ahead in terms of creating value. And that's going to then be able to be, refinance and, roll over into more properties. And it's from our experience of not just our lives, but also helping so many people get there. It's just been about that beating your income or competing with your income in a way so that you're relying less and less and less on your personal income or your job income, right? Your job side income as you grow your portfolio. I think that's got to be the focus here. So then what is it like? What does it look like right now? I mean,
so interest rates, we're looking at a drop in interest rates over the next couple of years. And that's due to the fact that inflation is finally under control.
That's right. So at the moment, we're looking at some reports in AI Group, which I think is a dope intelligence group that publishes data, which is cool. Not my opinion, just data. I'm just looking at data. And we're looking at the inflation rate actually dropping down to from about 6% in June 2023 to 4.5% as recorded December last year. June 2024, bringing itself down to 3.9, 3.3% to December 2024, so at the end of this year. And then June next year is going to be into the 3.0 to December next year is going to be around 2.9%. So RBA usually targets around about that 2 to 3% mark as the targeted inflation rate. You don't want to be too far above that, too far below that. Now, we were almost double that last year, which is why the interest rates were hiking to keep that under control. And finally, this is actually working. So interest rates have gone up. Inflation is being controlled, right? And that's just not only a phenomenon in Australia, but it's predominantly demanded, sort of run by US economy as well. So US economy suffered inflation rates much, much higher than we did. They hiked much, much higher than we did. And then that's why their inflation is controlling. Our inflation is also getting controlled. Similar effects, similar economies, right? We obviously are less intense than US is, but we can expect similar things. As interest rates do drop though, who is going to be put in favor of that situation? Well, we certainly believe it's the landlords, right?
It's the owner, 100%. Yep, it's the owner. And what about rents? What about for renters? How do you think the situation is going to pan out for them over the next couple of years with interest rates starting to fall?
When interest rates do drop, there will be more affordability in the market, but that's going to probably push the prices up again. So when the interest rates drop, it drops for a reason. the interest rates go up or down, rents always go up. And interestingly, property prices also never go down. It always goes up, whether the interest rates go up or down. Interest rates have been climbing all throughout 2023, and yet we've never had such a high growth. What do you think is going to happen to the property prices when the interest rates begin to drop?
When lenders start getting a lot more lenient with their lending terms as well, they're going to start lending you, they're going to start letting more people borrow more money, not just based on interest rates. So like there's more people going to be flooding into the market who are able to borrow more money. So naturally the demand for property is just going to become even more. Supply is still going to be struggling in Australia, which is, depending on how you look at it, a good or a bad thing. Now, we like to look at it from a positive perspective, because if you, again, we've said this time and time again, if you get into the right asset, you will be in front of the curve. You'll be in front of the curve, yes. And those rent increases and stuff, the whole point of this is to outpace inflation. Okay, that's part of the beautiful thing about owning property, is that the growth and those rental increases, that trajectory over time, that's something that grows slowly but exponentially. So if we can stay ahead of the inflation curve, we're off to a good start. And the problem is, and part of the problem I think now is that when things are becoming so expensive, we're seeing buyers move away from houses because they're more expensive, and they get themselves into these apartments that are part of a huge apartment building. In Sydney, there's just been a whole lot of rezoning. People are buying apartments. Now, that will drive demand for apartments up, which is what we're going to start seeing in 2024 and beyond. But the problem is that all this rezoning that's going to happen is that the supply for apartments is going to go through the roof.
Exactly.
Which means naturally what's going to happen to the value of that apartment, a really nice, fresh, schmick 2-bedroom apartment that you bought that you're really proud of, it's not going to go up in value.
Exactly.
And it might, but too often we see people that have bought. You can just look at the history, like the buy history of a lot of the apartments in Sydney and major capital cities. Purchase price $800,000. 10 years later, current market value $750,000. So rather than making 7% per year growth on that asset, you've gone backwards. That's going to affect everything: your serviceability, your cash flow, your ability to use equity to buy more property. So these are just things to be aware of. There's a lot of noise out there. Look at long-term supply and demand, and look at the markets that are going to perform well within the next 3 years. Because everything's going to go up in value over the next 3 years. We have all the dominoes are falling into place right now, where we've got the inflation is under control. We've got interest, like lenders are going to start lending more money to more people.
Correct.
Immigration and tax cuts is another thing we can touch on. It's going to be a hectic few years. The property markets are going to go even further higher. Okay? If you think they're high now, this is just the beginning.
Exactly right.
Don't be fooled into shit properties just because you can throw a dart at a dartboard and think it's a good decision.
Correct. And I think just to comment on the apartment side of things as well, apartment prices will go up. It look like it's going up because they're more on the new stock, or like brand new apartment prices. That's what goes up. But unfortunately, once you start owning a property, it can never be brand new 2 years later. Does that make sense? It'll be 2-year-old apartments. So, and the thing about apartment is that if there is demand for apartments, the developers will come in and just create more of them, which means the supply will be open, like you said. So that's the thing about apartments, and the way that's so different to every other types of property within Australia is that the supply of apartments is fluid. You can, developers just can just build 100 new apartments like within 9 months, like into a new market, just boom, get it done, because they can just turn over a whole lot of money there with a lot of emotional buyers that are going in. In fact, those kind of projects are designed for the developer to make money, not for the purchasers to make money. So
you
got to be
careful when you're being sold. Exactly. Be careful when you're being sold a beautiful property by a really smooth talking real estate agent. You want to be, now, some agents are great at their job. They're here to help as well. Okay? But you want to be the guy, You don't want to be the guy that's being sold. You want to be the guy that's making an informed decision.
Exactly right.
Making an informed decision.
At the end of the day, apartments are good, that it serves a lifestyle purpose. So I'm not saying all property purchase that is an apartment is a bad decision. If your focus is on lifestyle, please do go ahead and purchase a property of your dreams. That is nothing wrong with the product itself, but make sure that it aligns with your objectives, okay? Or your objective aligns with the purchase, one or the other. If your objective is A, but the property service an objective B, then it's misaligned and you will feel stuck. You'll feel that you made a mistake and you'll have regrets in your life, or worse, even go backwards. So you got to understand that that's just how apartment markets actually work. So brand new offerings will become more and more expensive as the inflation, as the times change. But as an investment, unless you actually, have an apartment that will always renew itself every year, it's probably not going to face the gains. Now, some apartments do go up over time on certain periods, but at the end of the day, you got to think about how investing that same amount of money into other assets could have performed.
Whoa, hold up, Landlord Society.
Are you sick and tired of the rat race and you want to start building wealth with property and generate passive income?
Then come and drop us a follow on Instagram and DM us the word Landlord.
The word what, Charlie?
The word Landlord, like the Landlord Society.
Okay, wait, Charles, what's our Instagram handle again?
At landlord.society.
You heard him, everybody. DM us the word Landlord to our Instagram to learn more about property investing. Now, back to the podcast. Over that time.
Like, if someone came to us and they wanted to take advantage of the first home loan deposit scheme or something where they put down 5% for a property and they want to buy something for $600,000, they've got 30 grand. Okay, just 5%. Buying an apartment in a really good location that's not part of a huge apartment building that isn't subject to a whole lot of rezoning in the area might not be such a bad idea, because worst case, they're getting some decent cash flow from the way in. Okay. Obviously, if we're helping them buy it and they're going to get a good deal, they're going to be buying it at or below market value. And they only need 30 grand. That's like something that I would logically say that could be a good decision.
It could be a good decision. Correct. Yeah.
But long term, we want to diversify. We want to be buying land. We want to be buying it in good locations. We want to be able to strategy stack. So we want to be able to get the capital growth without having to touch the property. We also want to be able to add value to the property through manufacturing growth, through whether it be a reno or whatever strategy that you want to use.
Correct.
We want blue chip property in good locations. Okay, that can be semi-regional. Okay, that can be close to the skirts of the capital city center. Whatever's the most affordable for you is what's gonna, and whatever you can manage and give you the most growth is going to pay huge dividends through 2024, 25, 26.
And you've really got to look outside the box with that kind of thinking as well, because a lot of the reports will come out, like a lot of this noise and marketing on the, on newspapers and stuff is all about like, oh, such and such suburb did this, this 10%, 12% in 1 year, and look at these ridiculous numbers, and like those kind of properties are all in suburbs where the median house price is like 1.6, 2.2, 3.5 million. And to be honest, for a young Aussie that's trying to make the entry into the market, that's just too far-fetched. It's not really going to work. How those prices are going up is basically all the Chinese millionaires coming in and putting in these high bids, basically. And they're predominantly demand, driven up by not economic factors, but emotional factors that these sort of dream suburbs offer. So at the end of the day, that's not the league that you're playing, and plus, that's not the league that gives you the best returns either. At the end of the day, you're seeking growth. So I'd rather you get a higher percentage growth, okay, than a high dollar growth. Because if you get a high percentage growth, that means on a project basis, on a deal basis, you're actually up quite a significant portion, and that's what's going to be able to service you to be able to acquire more and more properties down the track, which would then help you generate a portfolio rather than putting all your eggs in one basket on a $2 million property in an upmarket suburb in Sydney.
Exactly. That's how the compound effect is going to, be the most powerful.
Exactly.
Right. You can buy nuggets of property with outsized return just based on the location within that area. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be buying inexpensive suburbs to see growth, like amazing growth.
Yeah. Not to mention you probably can't afford it anyway. So what good is it? You see all these numbers go up, and it's just literally pie in the air, and you can never have access to it because you just don't have the affordability.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly.
You touched on something really interesting. Is there a tax change coming up?
Tax cuts are coming up July 2024. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not going to be a huge change, but I think a lot of Australians will feel it. So here we go. From July 1st, 2024, the tax cuts will reduce the 19% tax rate to 16%.
That's the 18,000 to 45,000 income bracket, right? 18,000 to
That's right.
Yep.
That's the one. Reduced the 32.5% tax rate down to 30%.
Yep.
So that's income of 18 to 45 grand a year.
No, that'll be 45 to 120, right?
45 to 120, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
And the threshold,
so it's like the mid
the threshold has been increased as well. So from 120 to 135 for the 30% 30% tax rate. So yeah, the tax is reducing, I can see.
And increase also the threshold above the 45% tax rate applies. That's from 180 to 190 grand a year.
People who are making up to 190k.
Yeah.
Like, so let's say you made 180k a year. You are going to only pay 37% tax rate versus 45%. So look at the table on the left. Right. If you make 180k, your rate is 45%, yes?
Yeah.
But the table on the right, if you make 180k, your tax rate is how much?
45%.
No, 37.
Over 135 to 190, 37. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So you can say high income earners, right? Across the board, actually, tax rate is dropping, not just the poor people. And the drop is more significant for the richer people.
Yes,
and so if you look
not
at it,
relative though.
So give you an example, like do this, say this, right? So see that 180k. So a person making 180k this year will pay 45% tax, and the person who makes 180k next year will only pay 37% tax. That's a whopping 8% drop. Okay, now 8% of 180k is almost fucking 10 grand, right? Whereas, like, let's say somebody who makes 45 grand used to pay 19% tax, goes down to 16% tax. That's only 3% drop, which is going to be what? Bugger all. That's $1,200 off more taxability. But a rich person is going to have $10,000 in the pocket, whereas that's going to be in there. So where is the society geared towards? Is the rich people.
Yeah, that's it. So from July 1, 2024, the tax cuts will reduce the 19% tax rate down to 16%, the 32% tax rate down to 30%, and increase the threshold above which the 37% tax rate applies from 120 grand to 135 grand. And the same thing for the 45% tax rate that applies from 180 to 190. So basically, if you were earning 180 grand a year last year, you would have been paying 45% tax on that income. Next year, that same income, you're only going to be paying 37%. So that's a whopping 8% difference in tax for the people on that income bracket. So what's that? That's like, what, 10 grand a year?
Yeah.
15 grand in your pocket after tax.
Yeah.
That you're going to be saving. Now, for the lower income earners that are earning 18 to 45 grand a year, there's only a 3% difference there. Not very much money. So you're going to end up with an extra $1,000 in your pocket at the end of every year. Big whoop. That's really... So where is society geared towards then? If the richer... yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's going to have an impact, I think.
Exactly.
They're going to have more money and liquidity to do things in the property market.
So imagine this, like I'm making 180 grand a year, like one of those guys. And I go, I've got extra $10,000 a year. What am I going to do with it? Oh yeah, you know what? I'm rich because I'm rich. So I own properties. So I'm going to put 10K towards my renovation, right? Of a property, make it better. And I'm going to rent it out to guys who make 45 grand a year. Right. And I'm going to pick up extra rent. And the 45 grand earners will say, oh yeah, I've got the money for it. So I can afford it. So I'll pay it. So literally this whole society is geared towards servicing the rich people, right? Now, you can be the types of people that fight it. And look, please continue your good fight, okay? Maybe what you're doing is right. And maybe you're a stronger person for it. I respect you either way. But if that's the system and that's how it has always been, right, then you have a choice at the end of the day. We call ourselves a landlord society. We're people who are landlords. We want to be on this side of the fence in this society, right? At the end of the day, the people who make $45,000 still need a home that they can afford, which is only to be able to rent, right? Australia has one of the best level playing fields. If you want to get rich in Australia, it's more of a choice. Unlike any other country that I've ever lived in, sometimes if you're born poor, you have to sort of just stay poor because of societal structures and hierarchies. But in Australia, as far as I know, the harder you work, the better you get paid. So if you can apply yourself, the know-how and the knowledge, then you can easily belong on the other camp instead of the camp that people want to fight out of.
Exactly. I think that there are people struggling, but at the end of the day, you can, if you're someone who's eager, you can put a plan in place, work hard, work towards that, and we're just going to help you along the way.
Exactly right. So yeah, but these changes are coming through, and it's interesting that I'm very excited to find out the impact of this. And so if you are in a position to purchase property, then and you are in a position to impart your knowledge into your actions, then now would be a good time. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things today, right? We've got inflation coming under control. That's going to bring down the interest rates. It's going to then give you capital growth over the long term, like over the term of the interest rates dropping. All right, and then also it means if the rents are going to increase and you're going to refinance to a much cheaper loan because rates are going to drop as well. Think about it. If your rates go down from 7% to like 4%, then that would almost halve your mortgage bill every month. That's crazy. And if the rents are growing on the other end, then your cash flow position is going to amplify uncontrollably. And those are the opportunities that are coming up over the next 12 months for people to really expand their portfolio, right? So get yourself prepared. Now, the ones that I feel really sorry for are the ones that bought on this super low interest environment, sort of around that COVID mark when like interest rates were around 2%. Those are the people that bought these properties and then, saying interest rates are cheap. Yeah, we'll ape into this property. And now, and let's say they moved into it or something like that, the interest rates have then refinanced up to 7% because, on a variable, or they come off the a fixed mortgage cliff after 2 years. You're paying 7% in mortgage rates, and then you're going to be paying 3 times, 4 times the repayments, which is quite crazy. And you're wondering, why have I bought a property? I would much rather rent it in this market. So then that's why in this time, there's going to be some properties that are getting sold for that very reason, because people's affordability is just really struggling right now. Those are your opportunity, people. That's where you're going to be able to have a chance to become a landlord. If you can afford it, if the banks approve it, that means you have the affordability, you have the capacity. If you have the capacity, get something now. Make sure it's the right one, of course. And then that will then ride this market wave, which, to be honest, is more of a bonus. Guys, market is the bonus, not the main thing you search. The main thing is the deal, right? The deal is what you search for. That's what you chase. And the market will basically give you the extra cream on top. The way the market looks for landlords at this moment in time is amazing. But because landlords look to the future, whereas the pets, they'll look at the present.
Yep, completely agree. The market's just a cream on the top.
Exactly.
The deal is what you want to be chasing.
Exactly right.
And there's always, they exist everywhere in all markets. So, yeah.
So open up your eyes, look out there, find the best deals, and then ride the market.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Hondo.
Fantastic. All right, good stuff. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time, see you in the next episode. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Catch you later.
Cheers, guys. See ya.
Peace.